by Peterson Insurance, an insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Candace Summers with the McLean County Museum of History. Candace, it's good to see you. How you doing this morning?
Just trying to stay cool as everybody else is.
Yes, indeed. And you were telling me that building you're in, as old as it is, unfortunately doesn't keep it as cool as other places.
Yeah, some parts of the building, it gets a little humid, a little warm, but thank goodness for window units and HVAC in our collection and exhibit areas.
Very good. Find some reprieve in those spots. It's kind of like the getting out of the like the crowd. Find your little spot to hide. That's kind of where everybody goes. It sounds like so. Yep.
I got my window unit blowing right on me right now.
There you go. Hopefully that helps, right?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Well, Candace, through all of that, July was a busy month for you and your staff. I know you had your summer career camps and all those things. If you don't mind, can we start there and recap that season a little bit?
Yeah, so the summer is jam-packed and our day camps went really, really well. In the month of July, we had our one mini camp, which was discovering downtown. And so we had 8 campers who participated, and they got to explore downtown and learn about some of the activities that happen around here. They got to visit the Bloomington Fire Department, Bloomington Public Library, the Bloomington Center for the Performing Arts. I think they went over to the Bloomington Police Department and also the McLean County Arts Center. So they got behind the scenes look at what happens there and got to meet some of the people who work there and really just got to get a sense of what all happens in and around the downtown. So the kids, when I saw them come back every day, it was a half day, 3-day-a-week camp. They just looked so fun, especially the day they got to visit the fire department. They all got their junior firefighter badge stickers and hats. And
my kids always enjoy those days. They're not quite that old, but they enjoy that stuff. So
I'm like, where's my hat and my sticker? I want to be a junior fire department firefighter. Come on.
Yep, for sure. Great stuff. And of course, that's part of the fun, right? Is to get them into those new places, understand what goes on, and just give them a new perspective and maybe find something that they're interested in there.
Yeah, absolutely. What's really great about these camps is that each of the campers, each of the kids find something they latch on to. I know that a lot of the kids that come specifically because we do the archaeology day, they like to, pretend they're Indiana Jones, although X never, ever marks the spot, regardless of what the movies tell us. And so they really, they like to excavate, they like to find the artifacts, but that's just one small part. I mean, it's the most fun part, but it's one small part of what all archaeology is. And I've met campers, years later, because this is my 20th year here at the museum. And now a lot of these kids are graduating college that I had in my early career. But it's fun when they, recognize me because, again, they're much older than when I last saw them. So unfortunately, I don't recognize them. But they recognize me and they're like, oh, my gosh, I'm studying art history or I'm studying this. And it's because I took your camp and it just, kind of hit you right here. That you really did have an impact on these kids and that you help them, you help put them on the path to a career that they're going to love. And I mean, I hear adults, their parents are like, why can't we have a camp like this for adults? And I was like, you and me both. You and me both would love to have had something like this when we were kids. I would have loved to have had a camp like this when I was a kid because that was me. I wanted to be an archaeologist, and it was super fun. So it's really a powerful and impactful program that we do, and it's really impacted, hundreds of kids, my time here.
Definitely. I guess, Candace, as the camp season has wrapped up for you, when do you start preparing and getting ready for the next year then?
Oh, I mean, we already are going to start talking about next year. I mean, we have so many plans we're working on for 2026 because next year is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So that's a huge year for us. It's also the centennial of Route 66, and we are right on Route 66. So there's a lot that's going to happen in 2026 between those two big anniversaries. I have so many programs that we're working on with various community partners. Can't really talk about them yet, but
oh man, I was going to ask, without talking about the community partners, can you give us an insight into your ideas? But that's all right. I understand.
One, I can tell you one. I can tell you part of one. So one program series is going to be a 4-part series, and this is specifically related to the 250th anniversary, which they technically call it the semi-quincentennial anniversary. I had to learn how to say that word. So I just say America 250.
There
And
you go.
I've called it, I'm calling it Democracy Dialogues. And since we're, celebrating the Declaration of Independence, and I was inspired by a webinar I participated in through the American Association of State and Local History, AASLH, which is a big nationwide organization of history museums, historic sites, things like that. And in this program, they were talking about, taking language from our founding documents to have a real discussion about why that language was used 250 years ago, what it meant back then, and how it's interpreted today and what it means to all of us. And so Democracy Dialogues, there'll be 4 of them, each taking a specific phrase out of the Declaration. So I'll give an example. All men are created equal, and we'll have a constitutional scholar who will give a brief presentation on why that language was incorporated, what it meant then, and how it's changed over time. And then we'll break out into small discussion groups where people who come to the program can engage in dialogue amongst each other with facilitators, to keep everything civil, everything on topic, with some guided questions, so we can have a real discussion about what this language means, its impact on our society, and how we can continue upholding that language to this day. So I think it's going to be a really powerful series where we can take a hard look at our founding documents and help people relearn them. Because, when's the last time we all learned about the Constitution and the Declaration of high school, right? When we had to take a test our junior year in order to graduate. Probably the last time anybody has really looked at the Constitution. So I felt like it was a very timely point in our lives that we could, have a discussion and learn a little bit about the Constitution again.
Sure. Now, will that be part of the summer camp, or is that just a general program you're talking about?
That's just a general program. The summer camp, we're definitely having discussions about, how we could, incorporate things for those themes. I know one of the days of our full week camp is definitely related to, America 250, and that's our civics day, where we're learning about government, we're learning about how, things function. And so that's an easy way that we can, kind of build that in. But always planning for programs in the future. That's what we do here.
Sure. Well, Candace, just a lot going on in July. Did I miss something in terms of the summer camp season that you wanted to touch on and we didn't get to?
Just look out, coming soon, later this year, we'll start, plugging next year's summer programs for students.
Wow. Already thinking about it. And so are there parts of that planning where you just kind of confirm the next year with whether it's a group you work with or or just like, are there things that you can just do at the end of the camp season where it's like just confirming we're good for this for next year? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. We have, regular partners that, we work with every year. So, and I mean, usually it says we're cleaning up from that day. They're like, see you next year. It's just, we've been, like the David Davis mentioned, we have been doing this camp since the very beginning with them in 2004. And it's, a great partnership that we have with them. Long-standing support for us doing the archaeology day there. So yeah, we definitely have partners that are like, see you next year, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a done deal. And then we seek out new partners too. We try to change little bits of it every year, because we do get kids who want to come back every year. I think this year we had a student who this was his 4th year of camp because he started when he was entering 3rd grade, and then we changed the age, made it a little older. So as we changed the age, he kept like, I can still come to camp, and he had a blast. Even though a lot of it, he knew already. It's kind of cool having kids who know what's happening, because then they can kind of mentor the younger kids or help kids who've never done camp before, because they're like, oh, let me show you how to do this. So that's a great way too.
Sure. Well, Candace, great stuff. I'll tell you what, believe it or not, we just blew through 10 minutes. Best way for folks to learn about all things McLean County Museum of History. Where do they go? How do they get that?
You go to our social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram. And then we also have our website, makehistory.org. You can find all of those things there, the upcoming events and resources, all that good stuff.
Very good. Again, that is Candace Summers, McLean County Museum of History, my guest on the Zoom. We'll talk more with Candace coming up on the morning show.
WHOW. We cover Illinois Ag better. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Lower across the board with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. September corn down 2 1/4, 3.99 1/2. December corn down a penny, 4.19 3/4. March corn, 4.36 3/4, down 1 1/2. August beans, 9.98 1/2, down 5 3/4. September beans down 5 1/4, $10 1/2. November beans, 10.19 1/4, down a nickel. September wheat down 5 1/2, 5.36. December wheat down a nickel, 5.56 1/4. August bean meal, 268.70, down $1. August bean oil down 45 cents, 56.22. Livestock trade, August feeders, 329.20, up 30 cents. August live cattle down 1/4, 225.55. August lean hogs up 7 cents, 108.27. Energy market, September crude oil, 65.53, down $0.50. I'm Jim Taylor.
Here's Clinton Civil Lot owner Dave Jackson on how he monitors prices to help you save money.
I look and see what retail they are at, and I make that decision whether it is a key item or a mid-tier item as far as importance goes, and I make sure I'm either below or close. And in most cases, I try to go below.
Dave and his staff helps you save up to 40% on your grocery bill every day at your locally owned Clinton Save-A-Lot. And as Dave always says,
hope to see you soon.
CEO Paul Skowron here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Call our family medicine clinic now to get your children's school physicals scheduled. We're accepting new patients of all ages. More info by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Candace Summers, McLean County Museum of History, my guest on the Zoom today. And Candace, we need to get to a big event coming up August 5th for the museum. What's going on?
So we have a History Reads book club that we partner with Bloomington Public Library for. And typically for our book clubs, we just have a discussion about a book based about nonfiction Illinois history. But we have a special book club discussion where we're partnering with the True Crime Book Club for this one on August 5th, where we have invited Steve Vogel, who is the author of the book Reasonable Doubt, a shocking story of lust and murder in the American heartland. Now, people who are from this neck of the woods and have been around for a long time probably do remember when the Hendricks murders happened in 1983. And that's what Steve, who was a reporter and news director for WJBC, reported on during his time there. And this is still a very contentious topic in local history. A lot of people still talk about it, still remember it. Steve has written 2 books about the topic. His 3rd book that is coming out is more broadly about a lot of stories in his career at WJBC, but he does have a section on this one because it was just such a salient moment in his reporting. And even though the case is closed, it still remains unsolved to this day. We hosted Steve back in 2018 when it was approaching the 35th anniversary since the Hendricks family was found murdered. And now we're at 42 years since that happened almost. And we've never discussed this book before. So we thought, it was time to have a discussion, but also, we know people want to know more from Steve. They want to hear, what it was like to report on this. I mean, the tension in the community, people fearing, for their families. It was just a tragic moment in our history, but also just a really, it's one that still resonates to this day.
Mm-hmm. I'm not super familiar with this story, Candace. What are some of the basic bullet points?
So in November of 1983, 4 members of the Hendricks family were found murdered in their East Side home of Bloomington. So Susan Hendricks and her 3 children, and the husband, David Hendricks, was the one who was the prime suspect, and he was brought to trial. He was ultimately convicted the first time, but then had a second trial where he was not convicted. So it overturned the first trial, because I believe the first trial was deemed a mistrial. In any case, it still has remained unsolved today, and a lot of finger pointing between sloppy handling from local officials and, not really knowing. I mean, it's like I said, it's a very contentious, very hard-hitting topic to this day. And when we had Steve back in 2018, I turned people away from this building. There were so many people in the courtroom for his presentation, and that was when his second volume came out with some new information and some new theories. Bloomington Public Library also hosted him, and again, they turned, people away. So we thought it was time to bring Steve back when we discussed this book. He graciously offered, to come and join us because he knows people still want to know. People are hopeful that someday, somehow, that this crime will be solved, because it was just so tragic,
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Is the Hendricks family, are they still in the Bloomington Normal area, or have they moved off?
No, the last time I heard, David Hendricks was living in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He does come back from time to time, I believe. And I think Susan Hendricks's family lives over in the Peoria area, like from her side.
Yeah.
As far as I know, because a couple family members did come to the last program we had with Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's hard to even describe it because it's just such a tragic point in local history. But people want resolution, they want some kind of closure for this after all these years. And people want the information. And so we're glad we are able to help the community get questions answered by hosting Steve for his program.
So again, August 5th, the where?
It's at Bloomington Public Library. It'll start at 7:00. It's in community rooms 1, 2, and 3. They're going to have the whole space open. We will be live streaming it also on the library's YouTube page and recording it. So if for some reason we have to turn people away because there's too many people there, or you can't make it, you can always check out the live stream.
Very good. Well, Candace, about a minute and a half here with you. I apologize. We've really kind of stuck on 2 things today. Anything else going on with the museum you wanted to mention?
So real quick, Pride Fest is happening in downtown Bloomington again tomorrow. And the museum is really proud to be participating in that again. It's the 7th annual Pride Fest. It starts at 4 o'clock and goes until 10 o'clock. There will be like 5 or 6 blocks filled with community groups and activities and vendors. There'll be music, there'll be dancing, there'll be partying. It's really a great way to celebrate our LGBTQ plus community. The museum will have a booth where we'll have some activities such as trivia. We'll have an activity where people can say what their pride is, and freebies and giveaways. And the whole building will be lit up in rainbow lights. So we can't wait to have this event, and fingers crossed the rain stays away.
Very good. Where do folks go to learn about that and much more, Candace?
You can go to our website, makehistory.org, or our Facebook page or Instagram.
Very good. Candace Summers, McLean County Museum of History, our guest on the Zoom today. The morning show streams too, Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News comes your way next.
WHOW.